Today on the show, we are doing shoutouts and shoutdowns. You guys leave your feedback and your comments about things you're enjoying about WWE and things that you're not so hot about right now. The first one comes from Stugatz R, says, so over them having LA Knight come out cutting a promo on a champion and saying, that belongs to me. I'm coming for what's mine. See, this is not bad, is it? Yet, he just keeps getting jobbed. Now he's said to Cena, that IC title belongs to me. It's a little confusing with LA Knight. I'll probably have him on the thumbnail here, and LA Knight is getting buried, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if he's getting buried. Maybe they just don't have anything for him right now. Maybe it's bad timing, but it does seem very odd that right now, after he ripped up the sign and they pushed Jey Uso for the Saturday Night's Main Event title match, and it wasn't LA Knight, and they had been pushing LA Knight in the world title scene for so many months, like he was continuously having matches, and he was involved with the Usos and Punk. Even things like him and CM Punk having promos together, getting face-to-face, head-on, it really felt like, well, if Jay's out, maybe LA Knight can win a match, and then it's Punk versus LA Knight. I understand a Survivor Series, and you can't get everybody in there, and it's like, well, maybe he has to take a back seat. But the commercial break promo piece, that rubbed people, I think, the wrong way that are fans of LA Knight. Some people are like, oh, I'm over the whole thing right now, get over it and move on, so be it. But I can see where fans are coming from. I hope that maybe he does get into a regular program, but wouldn't it have been cool if he was kind of mixing it up in War Games, and the tension with Punk, for example, was, fueling a little bit more? Now he wants the IC title. It doesn't make any sense. The Wheel of Time says, shout out to Dirty Dom for getting more over by losing. Reminds me of Brett at SummerSlam 92. Some people are not into Mr. Dirty Dom, and they're just like, oh, he's a Timu version of Eddie Guerrero. I like Dom. I've liked him since he really found his, voice and character in Judgment Day and what it's evolved into even currently. I mean, when Dom Mysterio came into WWE, I was first guy to be like, I want this guy off my TV. He has short hair. He was riding on Rey Mysterio's back. It didn't make any sense. He was smiling all the time, and he had I didn't like his moveset. I still don't find Dom's moveset all that great, because yeah, he's doing Three Amigos, which is from Eddie, but that's his thing. He's a bad guy. You're supposed to not like him, so he's doing his job. I thought the promo he did with Cena was great in the ring. He didn't stutter. Dom held his own. He felt arrogant. He's in the ring with Triple H and John Cena, and Dom was fine. He was good and believable in his role. He's got so many years to go, so I'm excited to see what he will do. Maybe he'll end up in War Games, trying to get back at Cena. You never know. I like what they're doing with him. He is getting more over just organically with the audience because they're entertained, and that was one thing from Eddie, that even when he was a bad guy and he started doing lie, cheat, and steal, people were into it. Bill Moss says, shout out for Dragunov keeping the US Open Challenge going and putting on great matches week by week. Dragunov, I'm so happy and surprised he was, revealed to show up on SmackDown in his re-debut, coming back from injury and then debuting on SmackDown, and to win the US title from Sammy. Great for Sammy and WWE to put a guy over instantly and make him just a featured act, and he's going out there every week, and yeah, he's just having really good matches. I want to see him and Ray Phoenix getting into a program and just have bangers. The only thing with Ilya is depth of character. I feel like he's workhorse guy, and that can totally work. It might just limit him a little bit. It just depends if the crowd really just gets so behind him for years that they really want to see him become an even bigger champion. I would like to see Ilya at some point against Cody. That could be a lot of fun. I'd also like to see Gunther go over to SmackDown, and then we could get that program for maybe the US title. That would be a killer open challenge. But yeah, I like that they have that wrinkle on SmackDown of US Open Challenge. That's a great hook to have every week, because it gives fans something to look forward to, that, okay, I'm going to get a 10-15 minute match that's probably going to be really solid. Bill continues to say that shout down that other titles are still not being defended as often as they should. Example, the tag team titles. Tag team titles are always in a weird spot. Always. Raw and SmackDown. SmackDown, they were building that tag division. They were having ladder matches, DLC matches. They were doing so much every week. They were main eventing shows. They're still featured a ton, but it's taken a little bit of a backseat, and stuff ebbs and flows. It can't be that way every week. I mean, I feel that the Raw tag side is just dwindled into nothing. Maybe you just need to have one set of titles. The women's tag team titles, because they have good characters, they have proven that you can cross-brand it. So maybe we're wrong in that the title splits for the WWE tag titles, maybe that shouldn't have happened at WrestleMania. Maybe they should have kept it unified as singular belt, not the doubles, just single belts, make them red and blue. And then you could have just 4 teams on Raw, 4 teams on SmackDown. It's just the issue is when you have just a certain amount of teams, like 3 or 4 on Raw, they just keep fighting each other. I think they just need more personal stories other than I want to be champion. Raw's tag division, to me, is a bigger issue. Like, they kind of need Fraxium over there or somebody to help that division do something, or give it to the Braun brothers for all I care. Typical Teenager says, shout out to WWE for pushing Cena winning the IC championship away from Dom. I see Cena losing the title at Saturday night's main event. I kind of do too. I think that maybe, I mean, you guys tell me, but do you think that Cena's going to hold this thing all the way to December? Honestly, it's kind of weird in one sense that Cena would just hold on to a belt, like the IC title of all belts, as he retires. But if he does, it can hopefully be a great way to elevate a younger talent, an Obafemi, a Javon Evans, for example, a Carmelo Hayes, if Carmelo ends up, winning something or gets in there as a mystery opponent. There's hope there that Cena is and WWE are going to use this as an opportunity to make somebody. Hopefully they do that and they don't just put it on somebody that, been there, done that. Kind of like Gunther. I don't really want to see Gunther with the IC title again. Alex MXN says, and I'll go to the second point here, he says, a shout down to the potential burying of LA Knight. Again, I don't think that he's got a multiple just shout downs, just not a happy camper. LA Knight getting buried, I don't know if he's necessarily buried. We don't know. Maybe he's being punished. Maybe he's not, but he's not on Raw. And I don't feel like right now there's any use for him on Raw, period. He's not in any program. Maybe if they knew that he wasn't going to be utilized, if that's the whole thing of like, we don't have a story for him going into War Games. Why not just give him an injury angle? Have the Bronze beat him up. It's as simple as that, or somebody new. And then they take out LA Knight and he goes bye-bye until post War Games. And then he comes back again and he gets into a feud. Another shutdown from Alex is that Triple H starting Raw for absolutely no reason. None of it was for nothing. They wanted to figure out how they're going to do the whole IC title match versus just, if you didn't have Triple H there, you did have Cena probably just run down to the ring. I mean, you could have just done it where Dom interrupts him and then they challenge each other. But to make it make sense, because Dom is the chicken heel, he needs to get out of there. I mean, he does say, I'll fight you any place, anytime, but Dom, in character would just not do that match. So I think you needed the authority to push it forward. I did think that Triple H was completely unnecessary, how long-winded he talked for, about how he's the most objective person ever, sledgehammer suck it, degeneration, all of that. He just went on and on and on, almost about himself. I found that was a little bit too much. Be Brave says, shout down, oh no, to WWE for Giulia's booking. Thanks for the content. Well, you're welcome, and thank you for watching. Yeah, Giulia is just flatlined and completely ruined right now. Like, it was awful from the jump, right? She wins the United States Championship kind of quick, and it's all in retrospect, right? We could say this was good, this was bad. Her winning the US title, it had potential. You added somebody to the women's US title picture, which really was thin from the get-go. It's Chelsea and Michin and Zelina Vega, and that was it. And then Zelina's moved on, and you're left with Michin and Chelsea doing stuff. You added Giulia. Okay, she's very credible, but she lost all of the mystique, the aura I felt that she had from NXT, and then obviously not in WWE, and when she was in Japan. She's just missing something. I understand that English is not easy, so she can't really cut, engaging promos. Stephanie Vaquer is kind of in the same situation. World champion, doing just fine. Although Stephanie, I would like to see her in a proper feud. The Nikki Bella thing is a short-term deal and kind of saw that coming. I just feel Giulia just got kind of the short end of the stick. I think they need to take her off TV for like 3 to 4 weeks and reset. Maybe take her out, bring her back at the Royal Rumble and try to elevate her. The women's, WWE Championship scene is a little heavy. She, I think, needs to stick around in that mid-card. Maybe just go to Raw and do that. I don't know what to do right now. Kiana James pairing with her, while made sense on paper of, okay, we want somebody to be a manager or a mouthpiece for Giulia, add a little bit more heat. Also somebody that can, eat losses on SmackDown, that type of thing, get pinned, so we protect Giulia a little bit more. I get it, but the two characters, they're so different from each other. Like, they don't even seem like they're in the same universe. So I totally agree. Big shout down for Giulia's booking. I think she can recover. I think they just need to clean slate her and figure out maybe the proper feud opponent that they can work with. I think I'm just gonna make her dark and mysterious and just do something else. Wrestling IG says, shout out for John Cena for becoming a Grand Slam champion. Absolutely. I see some people that are not into this, but you know what? Shout out to John. He did it. They gave him the belt, and they're gonna do it for just a month. It'll be fine. Hopefully it helps elevate the IC title in the very end and somebody else. That's what I hope for. Hollywood Cole says, shout out to WWE for calling up Lash Legend. Hopefully we can get some good storylines for her on SmackDown. I'm so happy for Lash Legend. This is great. And teaming up with Nia Jax, it fits. They made a little bit of a story piece in there that how like they see each other and they've been in NXT for a minute. And the two of them together, it looks like it fits well. They're big, dominant heels. Lash has been called up before a little bit and then pushed back to NXT. This is, I think, a great way to melt her into the women's division on SmackDown and then eventually break from Nia, become a single star on her own. It's weird that WWE on the women's division side, Raw and SmackDown, for the most part, not entirely, but for the most part, they got healthy divisions. They have some compelling stories. They're featured a ton, like multiple women are featured a ton. And sure, multiple men on like Raw are featured, but it's the same guys every time. Like now you have a interesting women's tag division that keeps building and building. They switched the tag titles, which was fun. You've added in Lash Legend, I think is a great addition. You just keep changing it a little bit. I'm glad that Tiffany dropped the belt also to Jade, because Jade is cutting short, sweet promos. She's just a dominant powerhouse. That's what you need. And for Lash Legend, I'm glad that she's going to be there and that she can work for the next, couple of months even as a tag team. Built a tag division. It's just funny how they can work it in some divisions and then some things they can't. King of Kings says, shout out to Punk finally getting the world title run. It'll be nice to finally see, especially when how many different matchups there are, and since he never got a proper one ever since returning in 2021. It will be interesting. I think that with Punk, from my opinion, we need to get past War Games. I feel like this is just such a pit stop. Yeah, he's involved in this Vision stuff and Logan Paul, and I think eventually we're gonna get, like, we finished Survivor Series, and then do we have a Saturday night's main event? I mean, the December one, yes. And then Rumble? Are we gonna get Logan Paul, Punk, Rumble one-on-one? It's a match I do kind of want to see, because both guys are good on the mic, and it's kind of fun to see those two chopping it up. I hope that they do something interesting for Punk going to WrestleMania. He needs a personal story. The only thing with Punk right now, for me, and again, it might be because of War Games, it's a holding pattern, I want to see more grit from Punk, and it's a hard thing when they are champion, like Cody. You're champion, you're smiling all the time. He's got that seriousness still for Punk, but I feel like he's missing that edge, that something is keeping him down. That was always kind of his thing, chip on the shoulder. I feel like he doesn't have that, and that makes me kind of, dull my interest a little bit, but very curious to see who his opponent is for Mania, and if they can give him a really cool story. King of Kings also says, shout down to the main Raw storyline and the world title scene still being based around the Vision. Them constantly being in the world title scene is hindering new and interesting matchups. I'd love for Braun and Bronson to go to the tag scene for a bit and elevate that. And isn't it interesting that on Raw, I agree, I think that the world title scene on Raw really needs different people. Like, I think Drew should get drafted back over to Raw and go after the world title. Just something. Like, we need new people. Even Jacob Fatu. I know he's going to come back and probably feud with Cody, but maybe move him to Raw. Or Randy Orton. If he doesn't do the Cody feud, put Randy on Raw. Just different characters, different people. Because yes, the Vision, Jay, Punk, LA Knight to an extent now, these guys are all just in there for better half of a year. It's a lot. And they had to pivot because Seth got injured. Braun guys. Kind of interesting that even on Raw, they had like Logan Paul front and center in the middle, and these two guys were flanking them on either end, and it felt like they were the henchmen for Logan Paul. Aren't we missing something where Braun Breaker did the whole spearing Seth, holding the title, asking Bronson Reed if he wanted to join him, like make a choice, and we haven't really had a good follow-up. They really cooled off Braun Breaker, and I think also because they got to get to War Games, and they may even get more overshadowed if War Games ends up adding Brock Lesnar into the men's team on the heels side. Braun Breaker, I feel, takes a real big back seat. I think you do need to pivot these guys a little bit and maybe get them into the tag team division and have them win the tag titles and just dominate. That's more for them, more accolades. Sebastian says, shout out to Oba making his return on NXT on Tuesday. Another shout out to Javon being featured on the Last Time Is Now tournament. both guys, absolutely. And for them, we know Joanna Evans is going to be in the tournament. Obafemi is not confirmed, but rumored. And I hope both guys get in the tournament, make it like Javon is in there, but they both move through into the tournament. One of them gets to the finals to face on John Cena. I think either guy could do it. If Obafemi's going to stay in NXT for a little bit longer, then he needs to get to main roster soon. Like, maybe he debuts in the Royal Rumble if they're not going to use him for this tournament, and then give him a huge dominant run in the Rumble so that he's showcased very well. Maybe he has a standoff moment in the Rumble against Brock or something. They kind of did that with Gunther before. Even Keith Lee and Brock had a moment in the Rumble. Do that with Obafemi, and people will go nuts for it, and they'll instantly say, like, I'm not a Brock Lesnar fan, but I could see them doing Brock Obafemi at Mania if they have Gunther plans elsewhere. I love to see Javon Evans win the whole thing, become Intercontinental Champion. Why not? Why not? People are looking for new stars. You're looking for guys that they can just put a rocket on, that fans get behind. I think he is the guy. Sebastian goes on to say, shout down to the War Games matches not making much sense this year. The men's one with Cody and the women's one seems to be thrown together last minute, still hoping for the best. I don't love the War Games. I'm kind of tired of the concept, personally. I think it should be kind of like Hell in a Cell, and Triple H made this very clear when they took away the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, and now it's just a match type when it calls for it. I get it from a marketing side, sell tickets, all of that stuff. I get it. You want to have it as an annual thing. However, because it happens every year, I'm kind of tired of the concept. I'd like War Games to happen because it needs to happen, not we need to make a match. And I do feel like, to your point, Sebastian, that this year, it does feel like, oh, we have War Games, we need people in War Games, so let's just put them together. The vision was going to make sense. They were going to have Seth. You were going to have Seth, Braun, Bronson, possibly Brock still. There's your 4. And they can do 4v4 War Games. Like, we're thinking that they're going to do 5 on men's and women's. But these could be the teams. And then on the other side, it could be Brock added in and Cena. And there's your men's War Games match. Do feel it's thrown together. I like the tension of Punk, Jay. But Cody being in there is kind of like, why is Cody over there? Like, why? He's in the thing with Drew McIntyre right now and Aleister Black. Why does Cody need to be involved in that? And if Drew doesn't make it into War Games, then what the heck? Like, he's supposed to be trying to get to Cody. I don't really get Cody's placement in this. It's almost one of those times where I'm like, Cody needs to maybe not be involved in this whole thing. And then from the women's side, I'm okay with it. But it does feel a little like Rhea and Io obviously have all the feud going with the Kabuki Warriors, and they got to get Rhea back. But I get your point. It feels a slight thrown together, yes. And then Sebastian goes on, he says just a bunch of nice positive things. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. Steve Ager says, shout down on WWE not putting the title on Drew. I would have loved it if he'd lost to Cody, then later that evening replaced Jey Uso against Punk and won the world title. I get it, but he's on the other brand. Like, he's so heavy into the Cody story and SmackDown, they wouldn't cross over. That's too much, I think, to explain in the moment. They would have made more sense if Jay was out and LA Knight took him out or something, and then LA Knight versus Punk was the world title match. But to your point, Drew not getting the title at WrestlePalooza, I think, was a mistake. And then he's lost again to Cody. How many times is Drew going to lose? Like, he becomes losing wrestler and never gets, the big moment. He needs to do something. Otherwise, he's perpetually stuck in this upper mid-card, I'm challenging for a title but never win the thing. He's got to do something. Or you move him back to Raw and he challenges for the world title and wins it. I think Drew just needs to win the title. I agree, though. I wish that Drew was getting a belt. I think he earns it. He needs a run in front of fans. It's just, we need Drew to be, trying to do something more. Arham Tarek, I apologize if I butchered that, says, shout down to men and women War Games match. Don't know why, you're just not happy about it, but that's okay. Everyone likes what they like. Busuman Mulenga. I am so sorry. Shout down to WWE. Everyone's got shout downs. I gotta give them a shout out sometimes. Okay, shout down to WWE putting Cody in the War Games match. I feel like it doesn't have to be it. He has no business being on Raw or any business in the Vision, and as of now, I wish they could continue the Drew story and have MFTs versus the Wyatt Six at War Games. PS, love your content. Well, thank you very much. Cody in there, we just said, yeah, I don't think Cody needs to be involved. It just doesn't make a lick of sense. But it's from TKO side. They're like, we gotta sell tickets. We need star power. You put in Cody in War Games, you might be putting Cena in War Games. If Cody wasn't in, you could have done Punk, Jay, maybe Jimmy, but Punk, Jay, Roman, who could still be in there. And then you could add in, if you want to do 4, you could do LA Knight or John Cena. Let's say you did 4. You could, on the other side, you got the Vision. Braun, Bronson, Logan Paul, and then let's just say Brock Lesnar. There's your 4. Then you can have those 4 go up against Punk, Jay, Roman, and John Cena. That's a star-studded 4-person lineup. And they all kind of have history with each other. Roman, Logan Paul, Roman, CM Punk, John Cena with Brock and Logan Paul. Like, there's all the different elements in there. Jay and Roman involved in the whole War Games situation and their relationship. There's a lot you could have done in there. And if you want to add a fifth, you could do LA Knight. And on the bad guy side, you could add Dom, because Dom just lost the IC title and he wants revenge against Cena. There's so many different combinations to do this. I do think that putting Cody in there is just like, hey, we want our big champion, our poster boy. He's in War Games. There you go. Just feels odd. Maybe they'll do a big surprise moment. Somebody will debut or return at War Games. That'd be kind of cool. Kind of like when Punk returned and when no one had seen it coming at all. But the other thing is, you felt like the vision, and now is you wanted to see MFTs and the Wyatts in War Games. So did I. Kind of felt like they were going in that direction originally. They pulled the trigger. Here's what I think they could do, though, is that the SmackDown before Survivor Series, I'm putting money down, and it's going to be fake money, that they're going to do Wyatts versus MFTs on SmackDown in a Survivor Series traditional elimination style match. And that's where we'll get it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. Those are your shout outs and shout downs. Comment below yours. And if you guys want to talk more WWE, like John Cena, the IC title win, who could win the tournament, click this video right here. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. See ya.